Just days ahead of parliamentary elections, a fresh wave of violence has flared in Kyrgyzstan. A mob stormed the headquarters of a leading political party in the capital, Bishkek. It followed a protest staged by relatives of those killed in riots that rocked the Central Asian country in April and toppled the president. They were angered at alleged claims the party was intending to reinstate the ousted president. Sunday's vote will create the region's first parliamentary democracy, but it comes just 3 months after a deadly ethnic conflict in the country's south. Igor Piskunov reports from the volatile area.
This woman asked us not to reveal her identity. She says it's still not safe. In June, just like many other Uzbeks in the ethnically divided city, they lost everything. Now they're being forced to survive by taking any work they can find.
There is no stability. There is still tension. No one trusts the government. And how could we after what happened? Those of us who could already left. Others are looking for ways how to get out.
Burned down shops, destroyed pharmacies and abandoned cafes are a common sight in Osh, Kyrgyzstan's second largest city. In June, it fell into complete chaos. Armed gangs, mainly young Kyrgyz men, destroyed shops, set cars ablaze and burnt down houses. Officially, hundreds were killed, several thousand were injured by the time the country's interim government managed to take control of the situation, mobilizing the army. 4 months on, the Uzbek quarters are only now beginning to recover.
Everything was burned here. Everybody's fleeing abroad to look for jobs, but we must rebuild before it sets cold.
Construction is being carried out with the sounds of political agitation filling the streets. Like the rest of the country, Osh is getting ready for the parliamentary election. Flyers from the 29 parties taking part are spread both in the untouched, mainly Kyrgyz populated areas and here. This is one of the Uzbek districts of the city. As you can see, it was almost completely destroyed by the violence, and a similar picture can be seen in a dozen other parts of Osh. Reconstruction here is in full swing despite the lack of money and people. And for most of the locals, this is a race against time to rebuild their homes before the bitter winter hits. And that, for them, is of far greater importance than any election. State funding is very limited, if in fact there is any. Many locals say the only help they're getting is from the Red Cross.
There are about 900 people engaged altogether in this process. Some of them, they're just engaged in the so-called Cash for Work program. So we formed brigades and we're paying them on a daily basis.
Officially, over 3,000 businesses were affected by June's violence. Many fear more unrest is ahead. Some locals say they've been getting SMS messages calling on them to ignore the vote. The parliamentary election was announced 6 months ago after President Kurmanbek Bakiev and his government were overthrown by thousands of protesters and the opposition took control of the country. Many analysts say the interim government has so far failed to provide the needed stability, especially here in the south, where most of the voters don't know what each of the 29 parties even stands for. Igor Piskunov, RT, Osh, Kyrgyz.